We're really busy here, so we haven't been able to assess how people are.
Oh, all right. Well, it is gloomy, but at least it's warm again.
Yeah, I'm glad of that. I was just telling Jeff I have to go to visit a college with my granddaughter wanted me to come along with her, and I said, I hope I don't have to get dressed up. I'm wearing my jean shorts and a T-shirt. That's it.
Yeah, I think that you're good.
Yep,
you're good. It's a casual world we live in now.
Yeah, I know. You're not kidding.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't have picked the T-shirt, Steve, though, that says "Colleges for Losers" on the front.
Oh,
you should have picked a different one.
So anyway, what's going on in the Rockland County Biz
Well, 8 months ago, Supervisor George Homan from Clarkstown assembled a committee, the Clarkstown Business and Economic Development Advisory Committee, of about 17 business people, public officials, and sprinkling of other people, 17 people. And they were tasked to look at the future economic development of Clarkstown and Clarkstown's friendliness to business, to the business community, and just to look in general at the economics. We've been talking about that now for months, really. The report was handed in late August, and Rockland County Business Journal got an advance copy of the report, which has still not been released to the public. But we put up a story about that on Friday, as well as a link to the copy of the 10-page report. The 10-page report has a few specific suggestions, but it's mostly general. It touches on a lot of issues. It doesn't go too deeply into anything specifically. We know, or what the report says, that Clarkstown is Rockland County's economic engine, accounting for 60% of the commercial ratables in the county. So this is not just a Clarkstown issue; it's really a county-wide issue. Among the suggestions that let me just highlight here for the sake of the listeners is, I think that the strong suggestion is that the committee says Clarkstown should give the mall, that the Palisades Center, the extra 240,000 square feet of space on the fourth floor that it is fighting over in court. Again, the report does not specifically say how to do that. It would seem that the route to that is, at least first step is to hold that referendum, which could have happened this November, but is not happening. So I would say that's the leading recommendation from this committee. But it's the suggestion is not with any detail. The other things in the report, and these are sort of interesting, is the report urges the town to re-examine the homestead, non-homestead property tax system, citing that the business owners bear a disproportionate brunt of the property taxes. Again, not really a suggestion about how to do this or what they'd like to see. Although I think we all just got our checks recently for some property tax relief, so as homeowners. So I'm not quite sure, how that would really look in terms of the tax sharing burden. Another point in the report is to increase the percentage of sales tax revenue that Rockland County shares with Clarkstown and the other municipalities. But here, that power rests entirely with the county. So the municipalities would have to lobby the county to change out that percent proportion. And I think that the other main message that comes through the report, again without a lot of detail, is to streamline the process for developers so that they are not as bogged down, I suppose, at the zoning and planning board. One specific thing that came out of the report was a suggestion to allow essentially studio apartments, 450 square feet studio apartments. I think right now the limit in Clarkstown is 600 or 650 square feet. But we know that, with the over at the TOD in Nanuet, with all of those new units coming in, nothing is as small as 450 square feet. So that's the big report that people have been waiting for.
Tina, can you take a call from a listener?
Oh, sure.
All right. Hi, you're on with Tina Traster. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a question. It is a simple one. I do understand and I do aware that Clarkstown did buy the former Grace Baptist Church on Damaris Avenue. So what is the intention? What are they going to do with that church?
The Grace Baptist Church, are you asking me?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Well, it has to go to a council vote, but Clarkstown is planning to purchase it.
He wants to know what they're going to do with it.
They have not decided what they're going to do.
They have no
with it.
idea.
Yeah, they're going to talk to different groups, community groups. The public will get a chance to give their ideas. They're trying to make it part of the TOD project that they have for Nanuet, with the goal of making it a more walkable hamlet. But they don't have anything specific yet for it in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so where are we now?
So we were just talking about the report. Let me see if there was anything else that I was going to mention. Yeah. Well, the other thing that they were recommending is to either establish an economic development office or hire a qualified consultant to carry out the report's recommendations. And I think it would be best if Clarkstown hired somebody who was highly qualified in the process of economic development. I think that what the report is it's kind of big ideas, but it seems to me that what's really lacking on the committee is somebody whose job is economic development. And I think if Clarkstown is going to move forward with these suggestions, this should be analyzed by people whose job it is to analyze these sort of things. I mean, if you look at the committee yeah, go ahead. We going to say something?
No, I just have another call here for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so that's on, right? Yeah. Yep. All right, let's try it now. You can take this one, right?
Sure.
Tina, okay. Hi, WRCR, you're on. Lori, you're on with Tina Traster.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning.
I've been listening to your show, and I love it. I listen to it every Monday morning.
Thank you.
And I have a question.
Yeah?
Everybody seems to be approving this go-ahead for the Palisades Mall to use this building, this part of the building that hasn't been used since they built it.
Right.
Do you think that this is sending a bad message to the contractors, saying, well, if you think you're going to want it sometime in the future, build it and don't use it for a while, and then eventually you'll use it. You'll get what you want. Meanwhile, it's been there. Technically, I think it should have been torn down as soon as they discovered that it was there, and it was built illegally.
Yeah, well, it's a complicated thing. I mean, it's the fourth floor, so it's not a freestanding building. And it's empty, which is, I guess, doesn't help anybody, really. And yes, I mean, I think there are many people who remember this and harbor a bitterness toward it. I think, in a sense, we need to think about the greater good here. What is the best thing for the financial health of every resident of Clarkstown, and probably the mall itself, because the two have become linked together. I think the mall's bigger problem, frankly, and it gets lost in the haze, is that they now have two empty anchors, Lord & Taylor and J.C. Penney. Okay, that is a tremendous amount of empty space at the mall. So, while the fight over the 240,000 square feet gets a lot of attention and is high profile, I think, what we really need to be focusing on is what is the future of the mall. And really the mall needs to do that. The Palisades Center needs to take a look at, the state of retail, the decline of retail, and all of its empty space, and look at this holistically. Like, what I would be wanting to know if I were sitting in town hall and I had direct access to the mall folks is, what's your plan? What's your plan to save the mall in general? And if the 240,000 square feet is part of that plan and there's something specific that makes sense, that seems viable, okay, maybe that's worth thinking about. But really, I think it's maybe even more important to address the two empty anchors, because I think that's a real, liability when you have those kind of, two. I mean, let's look at the shops at Nanuet. Okay, you had the Macy's that went dark. You had the Sears that went dark. And if you believe the folks at Fairway, they say that they had to close up shop because of disappointing foot traffic at the mall because of those closures. So I think there's a bigger problem here, and I think there's a more holistic problem, and that the two should not be unrelated. That's just kind of my assessment of it.
All right, Lori, thank you. Okay.
I hope I answered your question.
Well, yes and no. Like I said, I just think it's sending a bad message to the contractors that, okay, you want to build a one-story building, fine. But if you decide to build a 4-story building, that's okay. We'll just let it go.
Well, you make a good point, and unfortunately, have you ever attended planning and zoning board meetings?
Yes.
I mean, they don't always make sense, do they?
Not at all.
Right.
Anyway.
And, there are a lot of arbitrary decisions that get made. But here's the thing, okay? I go to planning and zoning board meetings all the time, and unfortunately, unless there's a hot issue there, the citizens don't come there and hold those board members accountable. So, that's part of the problem, is that we don't have enough citizen participation.
Well, all right. If anybody wants to see what's in your Rockland County Business Journal, all they have to do is go onto your website. That's the only way to access it. But things are updated so very, very frequently. You go to RC Biz, RCBizJournal.com, and you'll be there. And we'll talk to you again next